Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you're new to the channel, my name's Tim. This is Vehicle Evolution, and today we're going over the Riaction Coilover install. If you've been following the last few videos, I've been talking about it. I threw up a teaser on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, because the wheels are only 2 days away, and when they come in, there will probably be a picture on Instagram before a video. So if you're interested in what I got, that's where you're going to see it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We've got the review for the coilovers coming. We've got the review for the new brake rotors and calipers that I put in. That's coming too. We've got the wheel video, all kinds of stuff planned here for the summer. So definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed. But let's talk about the Riaction coilovers. So why Riaction? Why didn't I go BC Racing or Tane or any of the other ones that that most people go with? And the answer is kind of simple. A couple things grabbed me with the Riaction coilovers. They're fully rebuildable. They're rebuildable from parts within the US, which makes it easy to get. And I just like the look of it, which I know you shouldn't really base a lot of things on. I like the look of the coilover. But the price point on it's also pretty good. They're no more expensive than the BC Racings, and they come in two different versions. So they come in standard coilovers like most of you are looking at, where you've got the front coilover and the back coilover is a separate spring and then the strut assembly. And the only thing you can do on the back is you can adjust dampening and you can raise and lower it, but you can't adjust any kind of spring tension on that type of setup. So Riaction makes a setup, and BC Racing does as well, that gives you a true rear coilover. And what that means is that that separate spring, separate strut system isn't there anymore. You pull the spring out of the back of the car, and your strut and spring assembly are all in one coilover, just like your front assembly. And that makes it so that you can actually adjust the preload on the spring. So if you're doing any kind of track work or anything where having that extra stiffness in your rear suspension and the flexibility of adjusting one side over the other is important, then having a true rear coilover system is something that you're going to want to be looking at. So you might be asking yourself, well, Tim, you never track your car, you don't race, why did you go with the true rear coilover system? Well, that's simple too. Nobody's doing it. There are no videos out there on the true rear coilover system, or none that have really grabbed my attention to where I was like, yes, that's it. So I wanted to kind of be a guinea pig for you guys. I've done this before where I've tried out something and actually proved that you shouldn't get it. Remember the budget coilovers? Yeah, I do. So I thought, well, let's give these a try because you don't hear a lot about them. So let's do a video on them and see how they actually work. And so that's what we're going to do. So today's the install, and after we do the install, I'm going to do a full review of the whole ride quality and everything else. And yeah, you guys can make up your own minds. In the meantime, if you watch this video and you actually are interested in either version of the Riaction coilovers, check out gctuner.com, and you can pick between either the true rear coilover system or the regular one, and they're pretty much the same price. But yeah, let's do this install. So here we have the front passenger side coilover. We're going to leave it pretty much at the height that it came out of the box at and see where that leads us. We will adjust this piece, which is the sway bar mount, and we're going to move that all the way up. And to take your existing shock tower out is pretty simple. It's just these two bolts, this bolt here that holds the brake line, and then at the top of the whole tower in the engine bay, there's 3 nuts that hold the top of the tower in place. You undo those and it'll drop right out. I had a clunking noise coming from the right front wheel, and I'm pretty sure this is the problem. It isn't no wonder that this strut is worn out. It's the original one after 77,000 miles. We're going to keep it at the stock height. We'll make sure we lock it down, and we're going to adjust the sway bar mount all the way up. And then we have to make sure that we tighten our camber adjustments. And that's the front wheel. We've got a little bit more gap than what we had before, but that's out of the box ride height. And I'm not worried about that because the new wheels are coming and they're 19-inch wheels, so I'm pretty sure that we're gonna fill in this area pretty well. And off to the back wheel. Again, taking the strut out is pretty simple. It's just 2 bolts at the top that come out. Then at the bottom we've got the support arm that we need to take the nut off of, and then these 2 bolts here that need to be removed, and then we can drop this whole arm assembly down and pop the spring out. And again, we just need to pop that 1 bolt out that's holding the arm assembly in place, and then we'll be able to pull this spring right out. Now, the Genesis Coupe doesn't have the ability to see the top of the strut from inside the trunk, so I'm using these 300mm extenders that'll give me the ability to adjust my dampening whenever I want. You don't have to do this, but I wanted the adjustment capability, so I drilled the holes and added these extenders in for ease of access. If you remember, we hacked away this part of the underside when we did those budget coilovers, which were a colossal mess. And all we have to do is attach our extender now and then bolt the new coilover in place. Well guys, so right about then, my GoPro died. And just before that, I had to switch to the GoPro because the memory card on this camera was full. So the install is done, and I'm going to show you how this back part was finished and what the finished product looks like. We had almost gotten there. All I had to do was reconnect that bottom bolt and yeah, the wheel assembly. But yeah, let me show you what it looks like. So we reconnected the support arm there. All we had to do here was put these 2 bolts back in. So this is the bolt that holds the coilover in place, and this is the bolt that holds the wheel assembly in place. That's it sitting in there. So the nice thing about this is, you notice right here is where the spring was, and now we don't have that spring. It's all replaced by 1 single True Rear Coilover. And yeah, we should get a lot more adjustment ability out of this. I can set the preload on the spring to stiffen this one side up or loosen it if I wanted to. And yeah, just a lot more adjustability, especially if you're going to be tracking your car. So that's the install on the Riaction Coilovers. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. But that's all for me for now, guys. Till next time, take it easy.